right, I'd like to call to order the City of Apache Junction work session to order. Roll call.
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Schroeder,
Present.
Councilmember Cross,
Here.
Councilmember Heck,
Here.
Councilmember Nesser,
Present.
Councilmember Soller.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Okay. Excuse me. Presentation, discussion with the 2023-24 Youth Advisory Council, the introduction of their officers, goals, and plan projected. Projects, excuse me.
To have JJ tonight. We're in a tie. Looking
I know,
good.
scary.
First time, second time.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. JJ Underwood, Recreation Coordinator for Parks and Recreation. We're excited to bring you guys, early this year, a little look ahead at what we're going to be doing. We wanted to kind of show you guys what we're going to be working on this year, rather than a recap kind of what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to bring up our president. She's going to go ahead and introduce, and then we have a video for you guys that we made to kind of showcase some of the stuff we're going to be working on for the end of this year, or for this year. And then afterwards, we'd like to get a photo opportunity if we could. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Natalie. She's our new president for this year.
Hello, council members. My name is Natalie Antonio, and I'm this year's Youth Advisory Council President. We are so excited to be starting a new year and wanted to share a brief video on our current progress and what we have coming up this year. Thank you all for our support, and we look forward to serving our community.
Through our recruitment efforts so far, we have gained 8 new members who will be taking place of our members who graduated last year, bringing our total number to 13.
First order of business was to hold board elections on August 28th. Our new board includes Natalie Antonio as our president, Jay Gallardo as vice president, Jade Schuster as treasurer, Jacqueline Nordberg as secretary, and Isabella Anaya as our public information officer.
2 of our members recently attended the youth program at the AZ Cities and Towns 2023 conference and represented Apache Junction in the Parade of Flags. Our members heard from speakers on topics related to youth stewardship and community, while also getting the opportunity to connect with other youth councils from around the state.
We love to help in the community whenever possible and will be partaking in the following community events. Make a Difference Day will be working with the artists to bring more color to the wall at Flatiron Community Park. Buffalo grass removal. When the weather cools down, you will find us on the weekends out at Silly Mountain removing the pesky invasive species.
Additionally, look out for us at the following upcoming special events: Halloween Festival, Holiday Program and Light Parade, Easter Egg Hunt, and Earth Day event.
Continuing from last year, we will be once again partnering up with our One Water / Our Water and efforts to bring knowledge of water conservation to the youth and teen in our community.
During our last year, we worked towards a special project resulting in our Don't Fight, Make It Right Teen Night to promote awareness of the prevention of teen violence. We are currently in the act of brainstorming our special project for this current year and can't wait to share the results with you. We thank you for your time and your continued support.
Thank you.
All right, so as you can see, we got a lot of stuff coming up this year. And so we're super excited. We thank you guys for your support, and we definitely look forward to coming back again after the school year's done to kind of recap on all the stuff we do, on top of all the stuff you guys kind of saw that comes up throughout this year. So if we can get a picture, we want to get a picture real fast with everybody, if that's okay.
Yeah, you bet.
Mayor, real quick.
Sure.
We want to thank you.
Okay.
And we want to thank the youth that are stepping up and becoming good community servants. And hopefully someday you guys can be filling these seats or even bigger seats in local, state, and federal government. And thank you for all you do for our community.
We appreciate it. Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to coming and doing some tours and different things around the city and learning about government and stuff like that. Kind of a big thing that we're going to be doing. So.
All the way up, because that's the good light.
City council stand. Yeah, let's have y'all stand.
Come on, Jeff, don't be
Yes, scoot in.
Me and my black eyes from my skin
All right, make sure we There you go. Big smile. Everybody say yak. Yak.
Lift those arms up higher, Al.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, JJ.
Thank you.
Great job.
And I'll reiterate in the aspects on it that, yes, encourage you to be involved in the community and continue on. And I thank you for, I won't say assisting and being involved with the youth council. Something that I feel very strongly on, and I sure appreciate all your due diligence. Okay, presentation and discussion on economic development activities with Patrick.
All right. Good evening, Your Honor and City Council. How you all doing? As we had discussed at the City Council retreat a few months ago, we were looking to do an update every so often for economic development activities. So we're just going to give you some of the high-level items that have been going on in our department. First and foremost, business recruitment's always a big thing for the City of Apache Junction with all the new residents and fun activities, projects that are taking place. We are building our marketing. We are doing a lot of new fun things. As a matter of fact, today we just got these from the ASU Polytechnic Print Lab, postcards that we can pass out if you ever hear anyone interested in ever opening a business. It's kind of like a little bit bigger than a business card, but smaller than a flyer, and we hope to pass out the 500 that we've done. We really want to highlight Apache Junction as the place to open a business. Yes, keep it in your glove box or big wallet if you got one. And our goal is to really showcase what positives there are. We have over 100,000 visitors that come through our city, to and through our city every single month. A lot of great corridors, a lot of great ADTs, average daily trips, and a lot of those kind of factoids resonate with businesses. So what we did was we took the best of Apache Junction factoid-wise and put them in a postcard. And as you can see here, we're still building that marketing. As I presented about a few months ago, we have done that property finder map. We've launched that in January. I'm happy to say we've done 100 updates to that website. So that's either new, updated information. Sometimes properties go off because they either sold or they got backfilled. So we're very proud of this one. And again, this is one of the only tools in the entire valley that has something of that nature. We're still updating on a regular basis. In addition to the business recruitment, I will be going to the next ICSE Western Conference, which is a concentration of the Southwest states. It's about 1,000 people in a room that are looking to do business in the Southwest, including Arizona. So I'll be going there, highlighting Apache Junction, working with the property owners, developers, business owners, trying to attract more development here. As I kind of say, it's a slow and steady race in economic development, so when you start a conversation, it might take a couple years to kind of get them to lay bricks or get an application going, but I'm happy to say I went to the ICSE conference in May, and we're still having very fruitful conversations with some of those folks. And on top of other business recruitment, business support and promoting our business community is also a very big thing for the City of Apache Junction. I'm happy to say we just finished our Level Up Your Business. On the lower left of the screen, that was the title of our very first one, which was social media. We had over 40 registered attendees at that very first one. We just wrapped up our second one about 10 days ago, give or take. We had 33 people registered. So over 70 representatives of the business community have come to listen to experts in their field, nonprofits, government, and for-profit businesses that are there to give advice and seek that individual one-on-one attention. We will be doing more, and another one soon, and I'll be talking about that next time. And I always have to give kudos to Matt and Brian for giving the Economic Development Department some empowerment to kind of try new things. The social media series that you guys may have seen on Facebook, Instagram, not X or not Twitter anymore, X, thank you, and on YouTube, has been wildly successful. We've done 16 videos. And this is at no cost to our businesses. They didn't ask for this. We came to them and said, hey, let's help promote your business, especially during the non-winter resident months. Over 24,000 viewers have viewed these videos in total so far. And if I just took a look at the one we just did for Papa Bear Barbecue that was shared 52 times, 26 comments, God knows how many likes, hearts, and stars that are behind it. So we're actually doing another feature with them here pretty soon. So we're very excited about welcoming our businesses, both established and new, to really kind of help promote what great businesses are here in the Apache Junction community. So this is upcoming and ongoing. So I just wanted to highlight, we are partnering our marketing dollars with the Arizona Office of Tourism. They basically give us advertisement for 50% off. So we have approximately about, I think it was about $40-something thousand worth of services and advertisements that are going to go out to visitors, residents, out-of-state folks at half off. So we're only spending about $19,000. We'll even be doing advertisements during the Waste Management Open, when if you're checking your golf clubs and you're picking them up at Sky Harbor Airport, you're going to see a video about Apache Junction while you're at the baggage claim here in February. So we got that at half off. We're doing a lot of great stuff, both interactive, social media, print. So we have a whole gamut of services to reach a wide variety of audience members to come and check out Apache Junction. And also, I just wanted to let you guys know we did do and we are doing an active restaurant retail recruitment efforts. Probably more details on that one in the near future. So things that are coming up and again are ongoing. So we just had that Level Up Your Business seminar about access to capital. We are going to be working with the Chamber of Commerce to do a workforce development and employee retention topic, and hopefully one of our own City of Apache Junction staff members will be on that panel as well. And thanks to the help of our management analysts, we just launched the Business Resource Directory. This was a 6-month project. I can't tell you how painstaking it was, but all for a labor of love. About 26 organizations are on this website. They are nonprofit or government that are in the business to help our business community. I didn't even know there were this many until we'd done this activity. So if you are a business, you're not sure where you need to start, you can literally go to our website, act as a menu, and say, I just need help figuring out how to launch my business. You can filter, you can go through all 26, or you can just filter and say, Startup Business Assistance, and everything will pop up automatically. We are the only town in the entire valley that I have seen a database this extensive, this easy to use. We have launched a press release, thank you to Al. The Independent has picked it up, as well as one of the news law groups that reaches about 12,000 business professionals. So our goal is get people out there, know that we are an embracing community, we're a pro-business development community, and our goal is to help every business from start to ribbon cutting. And the other thing I want to note is we're going to hopefully expand our department by another staff person. So we are actively trying to hire a new economic development specialist. It's one role, but there's 2 titles to see if we can get a good range of applicant pools. So if anybody knows anybody, our applications are still being accepted till Thursday. And that's all I've got for now. Any questions?
Any questions or comments? Yes.
Patrick, where exactly under the city's website is that last page? The Business Resource Directory?
Great question. Thank you. I forgot to bring that up. So under the business tab, on the very highlight of it, if you put your cursor over it, it'll scroll down. And then, yes, whoever's got the mouse, thank you very much. Thanks, Matt. You'll see it under Business Resource Directory. Jorge also put out a social media blast today or tomorrow, and it'll directly hyperlink to that as well.
Okay.
You see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I actually think it also is a press release, so on our news ticker, there's a link to that as well.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Just want to tell you, thank you. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Appreciate all the hard work.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And I will note, I have always been excited about this sitting in this position, and I can't tell you, every single time I go on this website, I learn something new. As a matter of fact, we have a small business development center here at Apache Junction. It is so rare to get a SBDC office in the community that I've worked in. So we have one huge leg up to help our small business community and existing business community too. So holy referrals, there's going to be a lot more coming through this website. So more stuff to come.
No, Patrick, I also wanted to thank you and appreciate the effort to really dedicate and really focus on how you can expand our commercial retail opportunities, and I know the brief times I've spent with you, I've been exceedingly impressed with how, the way that you're going about this and the perseverance that it takes, and you said it can take years to really develop a lead that comes to fruition, but I appreciate your effort to continue with that.
No, thank you. And just to reiterate, there's no I in team, and economic development is a team sport. So if anyone knows anybody opening a business, looking to open a business, I think like Papa Bear Barbecue, perfect example. It was a community realtor who knew that person, it got them in that space, and this is their first brick and mortar location. So more to come.
Yes. Again, thank you. You're high energy, and I like that, and it's really good for us. But I also want to thank the city manager for hiring him. Good pick. He does a great job. And where do we get those cards?
I'll happily pass them out, and Brian pays me in coffee beans, so that really helps.
Okay.
We got some here. We just keep, sending caffeine his way.
I got some places I can drop those off and see if anybody wants to come. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you, Rob.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Pat, yeah.
Oops, my screen went blank. Okay, discussion regarding artwork on city utility boxes to include possibility requests in the Apache Junction Art Commission, considering how the art project program of this type might work in the city of Apache Junction. You want to?
Sure. So, I know a few weeks ago I came to the city mayor and the city manager, and I thought, well, what a great idea to kind of liven up our city a little bit, put some color on our streets. And I thought, what a great project for the Art Commission to work on. It gives them something to do, and it will help improve, I think, the image of our city. When people drive through it, they see us celebrating life.
And I just want to thank the vice mayor for bringing the ideas, and found out as I presented it to Rudy, as his staff oversees the staff perspective of the Art Commission. They're just doing great work. They'd already had a little discussion on it, and if okay by council, I'd like to invite Rudy to come up and just go through this presentation quickly, and then I think part of the idea is just to see this, what is it's specifically the utility wrap is, I think, in here, Rudy, and you could show that. And then I think the goal tonight would just, I think we have a member of the Arts Commission here, do we? Yes, sir.
Yep,
And
back.
they can kind of get a sense of what council's thinking, and they keep cranking. They've got so many projects in mind too. So.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor. I'm going to go through a presentation. I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. Our Art Commission back in April had a retreat, and where they discussed several possible mediums for temporary art projects. And right here, the cover photo is, of course, an illustration of street art. You can do it on crosswalks. You can do it on the edge of parking areas. So this is one of the things that they looked at. Of course, we already know about the progress at the dog park. What's next? Temporary artwork. Temporary nature, so less costly, no long-term commitment to maintenance, non-permanent, removed after an established period of time, given back to the artist, enlivens Apache Junction's public spaces, streets, public buildings, engages the community and establishes an arts presence, can contribute to downtown community revitalization, offers opportunities to to artists. Murals, vinyl or murals or banners. I think this is the Tempe Public Library. This is an example of what a banner installation might look like. It might be up for 6 months at a time. You take it down, you put something else up, or once again, these are temporary, kind of quick impact types of art pieces. Another work from the same artist at a different entrance on the library. Wraps, you can wrap windows, you can also wrap buildings, you can wrap other structures. This is an example of wrap on building windows. Here's another example of wrap on building windows, just to enliven spaces where you might not expect it. This is, I believe this is Phoenix Valley Metro. This is actually a vinyl installation on an exterior wall. It's up for 6 months, 9 months. It gets taken down. The wall gets sandblasted, and it looks like it was never up. Street pole banners. We have the pole banners on on Phelps Drive, and also on North Apache Trail in front of Flatiron Park. We use them around the holidays. We use them for Domestic Violence Week. There's other times of the year where we might be able to use these banners. We've had some discussions, internal discussions about some of the maintenance that might be needed on some of these poles and some the manpower issues involved with putting these banners up and taking them down. But there's another idea that our commission looked at. Just a couple more examples here of what a pole banner art might look like. Art inside or on public buildings. The library in particular expressed interest not too long ago about having a mural done in their teen room, but because of the TV monitors that are on the wall and the way the shelving was going to work out, we did not do that. But here's, once again, example, art inside or outside of buildings. Pedestals, art on pedestals. We can build pedestals. We can have pieces of art that are displayed for certain periods of time. Once again, 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever the case may be, you can take it off. You can put another piece of art on a pedestal. These are just some examples, other examples of what some of this pedestal art might look like. Our consultant, Diane Kripe, is helping us get some estimates on these things. So next time we go back to our commission, we can inform them, okay, this is what your typical, 4-foot tall concrete pedestal might cost. And so she's helping us in that respect. And these can go in landscape areas, they can go in front of buildings, they can go in numerous places. And here we go,
Okay,
signal box art. These are typically found where there is a street light, a stoplight. You've probably seen them in Tempe, you've seen them in Chandler. The art installations in Chandler tend to be very southwesterny. The art installations in Tempe tend to be a little more fluent or a little more abstract, maybe. I don't know if that's the correct word, but art that is more conducive to a college town. You see them up and down Mill Avenue versus what you see in Chandler. And Tempe, I noticed, uses a couple of different artists on their boxes. The thing about these wraps is you do need very precise measurements for the artist, and sometimes they have handles sticking out of them, sometimes they have the key locks, sometimes they have different planes. So precise measurements are involved when we talk about these wraps. They look very nice. They do make a quick impact. Here's some, irrigation lines, water lines,
And
art.
Rudy,
in the
before we
middle
leave
of
that section, that's
mediums.
kind of the main piece. So that is something that if council wanted to just kind of give advice to that they're interested in, that's something
Right,
our
yeah,
commission
so this is what
we can do it.
the commission looked at. I think we've
Yeah.
only got a couple more.
Okay, I'm
examples.
sorry, Rudy, keep going.
Yeah, once again, street art.
Okay.
And so those are the types
Yeah.
of things that the commission looked at back in April. And at that time, their preference, there was a follow-up meeting after that, is at this time, they would like for us to look more into the possibility of doing murals or vinyl installations on buildings. They were interested in the pole banners. They were interested in the pedestal art. And they were interested also in the, murals, banners, street pole banners, art in or around public buildings, and art on pedestals. And last week, we had a meeting with our art commission, and we have spoken to a couple of our friends here in town. We spoke to Liz, we spoke to Pam at the library, we spoke to our friends at PD. And for example, Pam is very interested in perhaps having some art installations here and here, right at the entrance to the library. There is this very interesting feature behind the library, which kind of faces the multi-gen and this play area that's right in here. Maybe there's an opportunity to put banner art or vinyl art on these columns. They're very interesting because each column is a different width, kind of like a Doppler effect kind of thing of column widths. They're all about, I think we took some rough measurements out here. They're anywhere from about 3.5 feet to about 13 feet wide, and they're all about 12 feet tall. You can do art installations facing the library, and you can do art installations facing the open area. So some ideas for possibly art at the library. Liz is also interested in maybe using some of her planes for art, and even on the windows. These are basically 44-inch by 44-inch windows, the smaller ones here, and then these windows here are about 18 feet wide with, I think there's like 9 individual panels on these windows. So once again, ideas for wall art, ideas for window art, pedestals, spaces for pedestals. We've got all kinds of spaces in front of the library, in front of the multi-gen, and in front of PD. PD expressed to us that they might be interested in replacing this with maybe a couple of pedestals that would look nice and would double as security. Because this is not only a planter, it's also a security feature so people don't, some crazy person doesn't drive right in the doors. And also, the space over here, we spoke to Raina and I think it was Sergeant Leonard about the space over here where PD conducts their media interviews. It would be nice to have some kind of public safety backdrop in this space as well. And that's it. I think that's basically an update on what our art commission is doing these days. We can certainly revisit the issue of wraps on signal pedestals. And, this is once again, this is temporary. This is quick impact. We've got a really good budget right now. We're just over 300,000. And of course, we have not lost sight of the fact of doing a couple of big projects, such as something in the roundabout, something that's going to take more time. It's going to be a longer term. It's going to take a lot of planning. It's going to take construction. It's going to take coordination with ADOT in the case of the roundabout. But in the meantime, we could do some of these quicker impact, high visibility kinds of projects.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Well, I like the presentation. I like the ideas, the wraps, and there's a lot of places you said we can start doing things. I think the purpose behind when I brought this up is to put this out into the city. I mean, you guys are kind of condensing it to the multi-gen, the library, the place, just this little 1 mile block here. But the idea of this is to put it out there so when you're driving down the trail, you see something. When you're driving down this, Ironwood or whatever, you see something. So if that entails looking deeper into the wraps on the boxes, I would like to see that happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will take that back to the commission, absolutely.
I concur. I think that's a great way of getting artwork out into our community, throughout the community, not just in high areas like the multi-gen and the library. So,
Mayor?
thank you, Rob.
I concur too. I think when you go to cities and you're driving down their streets and you're seeing art on the streets as you're driving down, it makes people feel comfortable, it makes them look, it makes them take an interest in that city to find out, oh, what's this city about? And I think art is the way to do it.
That's why Tempe's always been so unique, at each intersection, there's the sculptures and all.
Right.
And I think if you start at the city center and then just keep moving out on the major thoroughfares,
A couple other things. I know Mesa used to, they have the life-size human sculptures that are on loan from the artists. They've been a great big hit for many, many years.
Yeah.
Bullhead City, the drive into Bullhead City in the median, they've got all that spinning type art that in and out and turning, and it's just pretty darn cool. So there's lots of different opportunities.
Absolutely.
You're on one more thing?
Yep.
And I don't know if this necessarily needs to be addressed, but personally, I'd like to see no political messages, just keep it landscapes, keep it.
Art everybody can enjoy.
Right.
Yes. Not create
100% neutral.
That's a good reminder, yeah.
Yep.
And the nice thing is, if an artist puts a piece of art up, they can sell it. People will see it, people might want to buy it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, we've had a hit program since City Hall's been here that's always been public arts from private folks that have been able to have it out. So it's been neat that way. It's our next phase. We've got a budget now. I'm sure Art Commission will hear this and hear what Rudy has to say when he goes back. So it's great feedback.
Tell them we really back them.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you. Okay, presentation, discussion, provide an update on the city's efforts to address park usage and community concerns related to Flatiron Park.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'll kick this one off, and then as you want to ask questions or discuss amongst yourselves, that's the purpose of this item. The first slide you see before you, this was brought up during our last update that Chief Pooley gave, and it's just a reminder of some of the increase in calls for service and other issues that the community recognizes, they call in about, and that we recognize too, and that we're working on. Since the last meeting, there are a few things that we've been finalizing and starting to implement. One is new parking regulations, specifically in the downtown area around Flatiron in our right-of-way, that angled parking there. We are going to have new signs up there soon. I want to say within the next few weeks, hopefully within the next 30 days or so, that limit parking along the public right-of-way to park hours. So that's why you see there that there would be no parking there from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And it also creates a 3-hour block limit parking when someone can come and use those stalls. And then, of course, that would exclude special events and stuff like that when we want people parking there for an extended period of time. We've also done some updates on the code of conduct for park users. Our Parks and Rec Commission has established these new regulations that more clearly define what behaviors are allowed in parks as well as what's not allowed in parks. And then that gives our park rangers as well as our police the ability to move people along who aren't behaving in a manner that is along those new regulations. And also time limits and usage of park facilities, things like the tables or ramadas, things like that. You know, there's going to be a 3-hour time limit that people can stay at those facilities. And that'll all be managed through the park rangers. Other things we've worked on since the last time we updated the City Council, there's been increased coordination for those who deal with the clearing of the camps. That means moving the people who establish these camps out in the desert, moving them along and giving them an opportunity to gather their belongings, and coordinating that with the actual cleanup efforts, because there's always a big mess left behind when these camps get established out there in the desert. So improved staff communication leading up to those cleanup efforts has been helping us get on them quickly and also just do it more efficiently and more effectively among staff members. We have a new officer position in this year's budget for an officer dedicated solely to homelessness issues, a police officer. And then we also have in the budget a new park ranger position that's solely dedicated to homeless issues. Now there's, because we have a few vacancies, we don't see particularly that park ranger right now solely dedicated, and the officer actually solely dedicated, because we have to fill some of those vacancies so they can solely focus on that. But that's the intent, and we have those people in place, and we just need to get the rest of those positions filled as well. Possible next steps, we want to see how these new regulations and efforts improve the situation, see if they do, and then consider next steps if necessary. Of course, some of those next steps could come up in the budget process in early January, February, March, when the council starts seeing it in April. Do we need to add additional park rangers or police staffing specifically focused on homelessness efforts and regulating these different things that we observe happening at the parks? That's a possibility. Others, if these regulations aren't curbing some of the negative behavior that we don't want to see, we might have to do things more drastically, like changing the facility amenities, removing tables or benches, stuff like that, that would invite people to stay. But those are all things as possibilities we know could come, but we want to see over the next few months how these new regulations do, how the new parking goes, and what impact these new focused rangers and police officers have. And then, of course, we always like to show for the public purposes, if they see something, we encourage them to do something about it. Specifically, notify us. See something, say something is what we like to call it. If there's an immediate emergency or health need or something like that, the public should call 911. We also have a homeless hotline that goes directly to a phone line in PD that they can report when they see concerns about our homeless population. And then the park rangers also have a hotline. When people observe something that they're concerned about in the actual park, they can call the park rangers directly. So Mayor and Council, that's our update of what's happened since we last, at least from the staff's perspective, what we've been working on since the last update. We have Chief John here, we have Liz Langbach here, Bryant and I were available for questions, or this is open for your discussion as you see fit tonight.
Mayor?
Yes.
What about panhandlers, especially in the medians? I see it all the time, and when they're in the medians, they're going up to people's driver's side window door and looking in at them, holding their signs up to them, intimidating them. They're out there during the day and night. We need to deal with that. That's against the law. You can't be in the median, period. ARS clearly states that. We need to start dealing with the panhandlers too when they're violating the law, stepping in the traffic. You know, somebody in the middle lane decides they want to give something, they walk out in front of other vehicles. Now traffic has to stop, or they have a chance of getting hit or causing an accident. So I'd like to see something addressed with the panhandling when they're going above and beyond what's allowed.
And Chief John or Joel, you may want to chime in, but I know we've done several things. Whenever I see someone in the median, I'll call the non-emergency line, let them know.
Yeah.
I hope others do too, as well as we've posted signs, worked with ADOT along the freeway entrances and exits that say they can't do that there. You know, so when we do observe it, police can go and enforce that and move them along, because it's just, like you said, it's not allowed. You can't be in the median. It's unsafe for them and everyone else. But Chief John, anything to add? Or Bryant, I heard you.
I was just going to add that same what Matt was saying, that we're looking all the time and we're calling in PDMing twice a week, and we want to nip it in the bud as soon as you see it, because it's unsafe, and we have had calls of being approached as well, and that creates a situation that gets folks a little nervous.
I just hope that if we deal with them the first time, we give them the warning, we catch them again in the same location or another location after they've been warned, we need to start citing them in a court. That's why we have a court, that's why we have a judge, that's why we have a homeless court, and hopefully we can get them resources to get back on their feet, because guaranteed a lot of them are addicted to drugs. You're mentally ill, you have the people that are just homeless, that because they can't afford a house anymore, they'll take our resources, they'll accept stuff. The people that don't want our resources and don't want to accept anything to try to better themselves, we need to deal with them when they're breaking the law. In the parks, on the medians, in the roadways, and hopefully we can get them into a situation where the judge can mandate they go to get whatever help they need, and if they violate that, then sometimes you have to book them into jail. And hopefully when they're in jail, they'll get whatever they need and maybe make a life decision to change your life. So, yeah.
Chief John, was there anything you wanted to clarify about how your officers are directed to approach this specific issue right now?
You bet. Mayor, City Council, thank you for the opportunity to come up and talk a little bit. So they're both right. We get calls periodically of people in the medians. We also have our officers have all been talked to. They've gone through training on what the laws are, rules, regulations. We worked with ADOT on some of the ADOT corners where we can get ADOT to give us a trespass letter on file if it's not already posted. Typically what we'll do on that is the first offense, the person will be warned. That warning is documented. It goes into our CAT system showing that they have been warned. It gives time, date, officer that did the warning. Second offense is typically, it's going to be a citation on that. Some of the other things we do, and we've had some great success lately. We've had several things that have happened, stories that I could tell where we've had people, when we've made contact with them, they've actually reached out for help. We've had one guy that says, hey, I'm just trying to get money so I have a job interview in downtown Mesa, and I don't have gas to fill my car up. So all I'm trying to do is get gas money. Our officers, through some of our organizations, we have a great working relationship with all of our social services groups here in our city and surroundings. Our officers were able to get that gentleman a gas in his vehicle. He was not very well presentable, got him a new shirt, and he was able to get to his job interview and did end up getting a job with that. So we've had some success like that. We've had multiple where we've helped, but absolutely, I get text messages periodically from city workers saying, hey, here's a picture, is this guy out in the median? We're on it quick. Typically, You know, if officers are out on their own, they're going to stop them, right? A lot of times they're on call for service, and then we just put the call in ourselves, or I'll submit the call myself and get an officer there as soon as we can.
Your Honor?
Yes.
So, Johnny, what was I gonna ask? Oh.
It's called a senior moment.
Senior moment, yeah. You'll have to come back to me, because
I'll take your turn.
Okay.
Your Honor. I've been noticing a lot more homeless encampments coming up to the northeast of our roundabout. There, you know, about a year and a half, 2 years ago now, we did a huge cleanup in there, what, 3 40-yard dumpsters worth? It looks like they're back in there. They're further in now because they're trying to get away from everything, but they're piles.
Right.
You know, it looks like it's time for another effort because the weather's cooling off. More and more people are going to be coming into the community, and I think in those situations, you know, if you get ahead of it and tell them, hey, you know, you're not supposed to be camping.
Right. No, we do good. So we work great with park rangers right now, and I'll tell you, park ranger really probably take the brunt of it, in all honesty. And they do a great job with it. We're currently working on trying to get a position, an officer position, where that is his sole job. I'm not sure what you really want to call it. I call it an outreach officer position. I think it's great to have an officer that focuses on nothing but that, right? That's his sole job. So in other words, he's not responding to calls for service everywhere else throughout the city. He's dealing strictly with homeless. Right now, with officers that we have, and just like any other position or any other area, we're just trying to fill our vacancies right now. But we get that position. I mean, I've experienced it before with working. I've worked in that position before. Make a huge difference, right? We are aware of that. We do go out. We've been out, PD, with park rangers as well, out to that area. And there's been a lot of trespass warnings, a lot of education, a lot of outreach. We've gone out there with Horizon. We just joined 3-4 weeks ago with Horizon. So they have a outreach group now. They had a single person. They have multiple now. And we've teamed up with one of our new sergeants that we've assigned to homeless outreach. And they've gone out into that group too and looked with mental health and see what services they can provide them. But I agree, we need to go in there, you know, and we're on it. We're going to keep going out and addressing. A lot of times it's a new person every single time. So I mean, it's just, and to be honest, we have had an influx of homeless, right, with the shutdown of Phoenix and then Tempe as well, with them closing down the river bottom. But I'm not going to say it's significant. We've had an increase, right? But
Mayor. Mr. Mayor, oh, I'm sorry. Liz was going to share a little bit about desert cleanups, but.
Just the one thing, I want the public to understand, we're not just going out and hassling the homeless. We're going out and we're offering them resources, ways to get off the street, drug, alcohol treatment, mental health treatment. We're doing it, and I know you are. The police department is doing this. They're not out there just out there to hassle the homeless. They're out there to offer resources and try to get them off the street. It's when they refuse the resources and commit crimes that we're getting involved. And I just want the public to know that. We're not just going out there and arresting everybody. We're offering them resources and trying to get them help to get off the street the best that we can do. And I know you're doing that.
Yep, that's correct.
Your Honor, one thing to say. Well, back to, I guess, the original agenda item, Flatiron Park. The community had some concerns about activity going on there. It was brought to our attention, it was brought to your attention, and you're making steps to help address those concerns. And that's exactly the kind of thing, you know, we like to see the city staff do when these things happen. So good job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Got some ways to go.
Do you remember, Peter?
Yeah, I do remember. Actually, it was my question was
Hurry
for
up
Matt, not.
before you forget.
Okay. And it could actually be a comment from you too, Johnny. And I appreciate very much some of the restrictions now you've put on behaviors or the presence of folks at Flatiron Park. So question of like you say right now you're going to be implementing a 3-hour restriction time limit on being in the Ramada. Is that correct?
Yes, and if you want to know specifically how that's going to work, I would invite Liz to come explain how
Okay, 'cause
that
I would
will work.
really
through.
like to, I want to know how that'll, and then if it's 3 hours, and then can they walk around, they walk down the Genesis project and then come back for another 3 hours?
Sure.
Yeah, so great. Liz Lingenbach, Parks and Recreation Director. Thanks for having me out here tonight. So yeah, that's definitely a tricky situation. We've talked to a lot of cities that have implemented something similarly. We currently, our ramadas do have restrictions that if you are wanting to do a certain level of things, you have to have a permit to be able to use them. Our ramadas, as well as most of the features in our parks, are paid through taxpayer dollars, and so we try to make things open to everyone. And once there's the chance that something could be getting monopolized by a group, so for example, for a birthday party or another type of event that's a large group, there are restrictions already where you'd have to rent the ramada. So we have added to that list of items that the ramada can be used on a first-come, first-served basis for a 3-hour maximum limit. And then after that, if somebody wanted to do something longer than that, they'd really need to be looking for a permit or looking for something else, coming in and reserving that. We do know that that's going to be a challenging thing to enforce, but we've talked with our park rangers. I've been going out personally this last week, and we'll continue this next week to be talking with our different users of the park, including homeless individuals, and sharing with them what our expectation is and our code of conduct. And that was one of their questions, you know, so can I come in the morning and stay for an hour and then come back in the afternoon and stay for 2 hours? You know, we're really trying hard to work and figure out what's going to be the most realistic, because are our park rangers counting every hour? No. What will happen though is if they come in the morning and we've cleaned out the park, we've asked people to do what they need to do, and they come back and the same people are there towards the end of their shift, we do have cameras, we are able to view it, so we'll be learning as we go of how best to enforce it. But what we're telling our users currently is the purpose of the rule, so that way other people can utilize the facilities as well. And so we're going to do our best to enforce that, and we have had a lot of advice from some of our neighboring cities on how they've been successful in it.
So, Your Honor, related question or to the park. One of the areas that I find just very frustrating is how the splash pad gets used. And I know that we're not allowed to ask a homeless or unsheltered person to leave if they're fully clothed and bathing, if you will. But I've always kind of had that hope that if a family came there to use it, that the person would recognize that they're just going to get us ticked off if they just belligerently stay there or deliberately stay there and not let the family. Do you have a sense that they might be willing to say, you know what, there's a family here, let me just move over somewhere, and that way the family feels comfortable to be.
Yeah, let me share with you kind of what happens on a have any of you seen an individual who appears homeless to be bathing? And if you have, how often? Like once a year? Be honest about how often.
I don't know if it's the same person, but I've seen a couple different times.
Over how long?
6-month period.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. I drive down there routinely. I'd say probably once a week I probably see someone.
You see somebody that appears homeless that is in the splash pad?
Yes.
Okay. And same.
Oh, well.
So here's
I thought
what.
you meant bathing.
No, like just being in the splash pad.
I routinely always see homeless
So
in and around the splash
what
pad.
our park rangers do is, and the individuals that are there, they do have, and for the most part, we've had a good amount of compliance of if they are there, you know, cooling off, whatever it is. If a family were to pull up and get out of their car, then they've been asked to make sure that they're leaving that space available for families. Now, will a family want to stop if they see somebody there? You know, I don't know. I think we've had mixed messages. We check it very regularly. I try to make sure that I'm driving through there on most of my meetings. I've seen plenty of families there in the afternoons and evenings, but I've also seen at times it's an individual walking through and starting the splash pad. So yes, for the most part, they are willing. We have had cases though where individuals have said somebody made them feel uncomfortable. They didn't leave the area when they were there with their child. So other than having, and so we have put up signs this summer, so that way if a family member pulls up and they don't want to get out and they see somebody there, they can call, and a ranger will come immediately and make sure that it's cleared out for those folks. Anytime that our park rangers arrive and they see that there are families there, they hang around if there's homeless individuals in the park, so that way they know not to come over to that area. We are really working hard to try to push our See Something, Say Something campaign. There will be signage at the restrooms of every single one of our parks with not only the phone number that was displayed, but also we just added a text number that our IT department did, so that if a family doesn't feel like calling or they don't want to look obvious, they could also text. And it'll go directly to our park ranger's cell phone number so they can come and address the issue. So I would say for the most part, and when I talk to the park rangers who are there most often, they feel that there is compliance. The problem is having to share with somebody over and over again, you know, that this is what we're expecting. Can I answer your desert encampment cleanup question really quickly? So Robert Whistler and then representatives from the Public Works Department, the Police Department, and the Parks Department, and Code Enforcement and Development Services. We have a small team. So the approach this year is, you know, so we've done many of these cleanups, and it's very discouraging when we come back and they're just a mess again. And so right now what we are doing is we've identified some areas. Right now, everything north of this building and the MGC and the library, because we have a lot of trails and a lot of users in that desert area, what we are doing is we're identifying an area and trying to do kind of a big effort at first start with enforcement. So PD and park rangers are going out and giving notice and moving people out that shouldn't be there. And then once that time has been served, then we are bringing in cleanup crews. So we are working with a couple of contractors as well as our code enforcement team that does, and some of the temp workers, as well as some of our department staff, as well as East Valley Backcountry Horsemen's Association. We're going to be working with Shirley Riggy, that some of those areas they'll be able to come, as soon as we let them know there's an area ready, they'll help us to clean up. All of the areas that are more biohazard and structures, we're using contractors to be doing those areas. So the idea is that we're going to look at let's say it's a small acre or 2 acres that we're looking at. So we're really trying hard to push it out and clean it up immediately, and then there will be monitoring after that. Our GIS department is helping us to create a map and a mapping service, so that way the officers as well as the rangers can put on the map where there's a site that they've already given notice, and then we can work on our cleanup efforts. And so in the future, you know, at one of these next meetings, we'll have something to be able to show you kind of what progress we've made. So right now, that's our effort area, but we'll be moving exactly out into the area that you're talking about probably here in the near future.
Thank you.
We'll make a quick comment in the aspect this, I'll say this weekend, we were up just on, I'm going to say the entrance area going into State Park on the west side of 88. Went in there and did a cleanup, and of course the National Forest, that's forest land. They're in the process of going to be fencing it off and be actively enforcing it. So the group of people that have been regularly camping there, they're going to be looking for other places to move to. And of course BLM is trying to address some of the areas up there as well. So we know what's going on in that area and how it's going to basically affect us. So we're going to be the ripple effect on our part. And as far as my experience at watching, we'll say people, adults in the splash pad area on it, it has decreased for me for seeing it. Most of my sightings were, I'm going to say, earlier in the day, prior to noontime, but it has decreased. Anyone else have comments? Good. Okay, well, I say continue on, we'll work on, and we'll work on forward. So,
yep.
And thank you. I'll adjourn.